What's up, beautiful people? Back with another video. There's a few things that I really wanted to talk about. A few weeks ago, I had asked a few individuals, right? Let me get this closer so you can see me better. Sorry. I had asked a few questions of what questions might you have about faith or about God, and I got a few responses. Let me pull them up. Initially, right, the first thing that I really want to start off with would be a question that I got: where should someone wanting to read the Bible start? And the first thing that I want to tell you is I would recommend that you start with the gospel, right? That's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And those are the stories about Jesus Christ and what he did during his time when he was walking on earth, right? And it will really teach you about who that man is. So if you don't know who Jesus is, you're going to learn about who he is and pretty much who he became, his whole mission and objective on coming down to the earth. And that's a really key important factor, because you can't read the Bible, and expect to understand who Jesus is starting from Genesis, right? Because it's a complex book. It's not a chapter to chapter, like left to right book. It's a book that you really got to break down and understand. So starting with the gospel will allow you to really open up your mind and your heart to who Jesus is, and then start moving forward from that point. And the second question is kind of more directly towards me, but I will kind of also generalize it, which was, how have you gone about getting out of your bad habits? And first off, like, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. You can't expect to be perfect. God does not even expect us to be perfect. And the other aspect of that is you have to have grace towards yourself, because God gave you grace. So if God, your creator, the Father, is giving you grace, what makes you capable of holding something against you that God doesn't hold against you? Like, who are you to do so for you or against yourself? But the biggest thing is prayer and fasting, right? And it's in the Bible where it tells you the best way for you to get closer to God is prayer and fasting. And if you have bad habits that you're trying to get rid of that are holding you back from getting closer to God or moving forward in life as a person in general, getting rid of it is going to be hard, because they're habits. Habits are habits for a reason, because we do it instinctively and naturally, right? We've built a neurological connection to what we do, right? So the best way to get rid of it is practice, which is I'm going to practice not saying that, right? I'm working on cussing. I still cuss here and there. It slips out because I'm just so used to it. But I'm praying on it, and I'm trying to catch myself. Now every time I cuss, I'm like, excuse my language. My friend pointed it out, and I think it's just kind of funny. But that's the best way. Like, I'm acknowledging that I'm witnessing, or I'm aware that I'm cussing when I do say cuss word. And that's just the first steps for me. But the general response of that, again, is that prayer and fasting. Because when I'm in prayer, when I'm in fasting, I feel closer to God. I hear God more. Like right now, I'm off social media. I'm still posting, obviously. The only time I get on it is if I'm on my computer. I deleted it off my phone, so I'm not on it, or tempted to be on it during the day. I'm very tempted, because I opened the folder that says social media, and my social medias aren't there, so it's just like, But that's me fasting that aspect of it, because I lose connection with God when I'm on social media too much, right? Or my temptations come from social media, things like that. So that's a bad habit where I'm trying to cut out. And the way I'm doing that is taking that action of cutting it out, praying on it continuously, and fasting from the problem. So it's like, it's easier said than done, obviously, but it's not an overnight solution. And this is something that you just got to practice. Perfect practice makes perfect, right? But you can only practice perfectly for so long until you fall, because we are human and we make mistakes. No one is expecting you to be perfect. God is not expecting you to be perfect. So you can't expect yourself to be. So, third question is, objectively, any suggestion for someone who feels like they're losing their faith, right? And for this one, hard. Like, because I can't necessarily tell you what you can and can't do, like what you should believe in, what you should think, because it's like, it's a you situation, right? But the best thing that I can or like guide you to do, and cliche, repetitive, is prayer. You need to be praying in the Word and really taking that time to speak to God and hear God. Because my first initial guess when someone is losing faith, it's either they're around a community that claims to be of God, but that doesn't practice what God says, right? Or B, you're making requests and demands without listening, right? So within those two things, what I'm learning is literally, as you read the Bible, it is very easy to depict what's true and what's false around the world, around the people you associate with, those who claim to be believers, because their actions are consistent. Right? The Bible is really what depicts and shows you who really is for God and who really is against God. And I try to push people away from the ideology of religion, because I wholeheartedly believe anybody who reads the Bible and breaks down the Bible and learns the Bible and tries to understand what the Bible truly says despises religion, because religion is against what the Bible says, and the Bible pretty much makes it clear that there are people who are going to claim to be of Jesus, right? The ideology of Christianity as a religion is as a scam at times, right? It just depends on who's running the church, and it just seems so be that the world is corrupted. But if you are losing faith, prayer and patience and quietness, because I believe you're in a position where you need to start listening to God, right? It's not all about what God can do for you and what God has done for you in that moment. It's just a realization that, God, I'm desperate, I need you, I'm listening, I'm waiting, right? And just hear God, pray and listen, pray and listen, pray and listen, all right? And you can't just pray alone. It has to be a partnership with the Bible as well. So you have to open that book within that prayer meditation, and fasting again might be another option for you to truly hear God. Stepping away from something is taking your ability to focus on God and just sit there and be present with God. And whatever that may be, like, fast it and get rid of it for a moment so that you can hear what God has to tell you. Because God is speaking to you. God does speak back. He's not a one-way direction answering machine. Like, He will give you responses. You just have to really, truly get involved and take initiative to put yourself before Him and surrender yourself before Him. Surrender wholeheartedly and admit that, Lord, I need you. I am desperate. I am surrendering myself, and I'm getting rid of all of my humane desires because I want nothing else but you. And I'm desperate to hear your voice, Lord. Tell me what I need to do, or tell me what's going on. Explain this to me. Help me understand. And lastly, the last aspect of that goes back to the first point. If you are around a community that claims to be of Christian but does not exemplify what the Bible is saying, you need to find a new community, a new space, a new friend group, or whatever it may be, for someone who's going to be able to guide you, right? And explain to you what's really going on, or what the Word of God means, because you can't do it alone. The Bible is a really difficult and hard book. I'm doing this because I'm someone who really, I like to ask questions and I dig deep, but I don't do it alone. There's someone, a friend of mine, a peer of mine who's more knowledgeable, not even a peer, might be a little older, but he's more knowledgeable on the Bible than me, and I constantly message him. Every time I find something deep and that I can dig into that I don't understand, I'm like, yo, bro, explain this. And he's like, you got a minute to call? I'm like, yeah. Then we book a call and we chat for like an hour straight on a call, just so that I can break down and understand what I'm trying to speak on. And most of the time, because it's so deep that I have to reach out to somebody, I take it as I don't understand it yet fully, And I give myself that grace and time to really seek and learn before I speak on it. But yes, so community, prayer, fasting, right, are ultimately those 3 things that you need, right, when you feel like you're losing faith. Because I promise you, God is there, God is present, God is working. You just have to be willing to listen. We can't always be asking. And the last thing that I really want to talk about was a question from a friend of mine, and this one's a little deeper, so I want to take a little more time on it, a little bit, maybe, we'll see. I believe in God wholeheartedly, but I honestly don't believe in the church. Just how some things that the church people and all that is changing up, even on itself, especially the portraying of Jesus down to the root, is completely wrong. I did some research, and it's the illegitimate son of the Pope named Cesar Borgia. I forgot the last name, but how can I know? Knowing the original church I've been taught growing up, and now still continue my devotion of going to Mass on Sunday, because honestly now a lot of people seem like wolves in the sheep clothing. Right? That is a lot, and I can only speak on a bit of it because I haven't done too much digging into Catholicism on my own, or like the depth of everything. All right, I'm still learning. This is my first, I guess, maybe 6, 7 months, 7 going to 8 months of me truly digging and learning for myself. And obviously I've learned a bit of a few things, and there might be argumentative. Some want to argue, some don't. For example, like, is Jesus black or is he dark skinned? That's an argument for another day and different video if I ever decide to do that. But the basis of it, though, of his question, is that what's going on with religion, right? So he's like, how can I believe in this if religion doesn't align with it? And it simply goes back to what I was saying in question 3, right? Is religion isn't what God brought down. Salvation is what God brought down. Right? The book isn't a book of religion, it's a book of faith. Faith is different from religion. And Jesus laid out a route for us to follow on the basis of faith, that he alone is how we get salvation and how we are saved, and how the God of Jesus of Nazareth and our Father and our Creator, right, was able to redeem us. He's the Redeemer, and he did so by sending his only Son, his only begotten Son to die for our sins, right? And because of that action, because of that willingness, because of that sacrifice, that's how we're saved. And that's spoken within the in the Bible, right? And what I have recognized is the majority of people who claim to be Christians do not read the Bible for themselves. And literally, there's a lot of lukewarm Christians, right? For example, right, we're commonly told, do not judge. Or God said, don't judge, because we're not judges. And that's wrong. Because if you read the Bible, it literally says we can judge. We're not to judge of the world because we're not of the world, right? That's not our job, but we are to judge those who claim to be a Christian, right? Because we know a true Christian by the fruit that they produce. So if someone says, hey, I'm a Christian, but isn't producing the fruit of a Christian, I'm judging you, and I'm going to call you out on it. Now, it's not calling you out to shame you, it's to call you out to help you grow. And I expect the same, right? So if I'm claiming to be Christian and you catch me doing some foul stuff outside of the church, right, throughout my day-to-day basis, call me out on it. Like, hey, you say you're a Christian. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Please do. That's what's said in the Bible. We're supposed to hold each other accountable, right? We can judge and help each other. We can only judge in the house of God, right? Those who claim to be Christian, that's our family. We can only judge our family, no one outside. We aren't called to judge the earthly things because God isn't calling us to be earthly. If we were earthly, we'd judge earthly things. Because look at this. Earthly behaviors are constantly judged by earthly people, right? For example, like when I was in high school, right, I got judged for not going out to parties and stuff like that because I stayed at home or I was at school doing other school stuff, right? Some kids and peers would be like, ah, you lame, bro, you don't do nothing, bro, you always just playing sports and you go blah, blah, blah. Or I even got mocked once for having good grades. Like, what? Because the teachers liked me in the class because I did good. I did what I needed to do. Right? Because I wasn't out smoking weed, I wasn't out drinking, I wasn't out partying, I wasn't out with girls and this, da 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 da, because I had different goals and different aspirations. I was different, right? And I got judged by that. The worldly people are going to judge you for not doing worldly things. Let's not be that as Christians. Let's not be that where we judge the earthly people for not doing Christian and godly things, right? That's what we need to be. That's not where we need to be. We need to be judging Christians for doing godly things because we are called to be different. We're called to be of God and not of the earth. Once you believe that Jesus Christ wholeheartedly died for your sin, right? You are no longer of the earth. Your freedom and choice and lived life is within heaven, not here. The rest of your life here is really devoted to glorifying God and praising His name to the highest because He is who saved. So judging isn't wrong. It's wrong when you judge others outside of the church, right? That's what's wrong. But a lot of people don't know that because they don't read the Bible for themselves. And it's really difficult because it's just like, it hurts. Because literally during my period of doubt of religion, I was questioning religion because of what I seen, right? As a Christian, we believe that gay marriage it shouldn't be, right? Or homosexuality shouldn't be a part of it. But like, I don't care. That is you as a person. We're not here to judge people. We literally are called to love every single one. But that's why I bring out the judgment, right? I'm not here to judge and condemn homosexuality, man. Please, if you want to do you. That is your will. Right? I have a will, and my will is the Father's, right? Those who don't believe in God aren't they're not objectified, or they aren't called necessarily to do what God says, right? My mission is to preach the word of who God is and how He saved me, right? And if that's against your belief, that is against your belief. One thing I'll never do is force my faith down somebody else's throat. And that's what a lot of media and Christian media has done, is force God and Jesus down the throat of the world. You can't do that because we won't get people like that, right? And the reason that I hated religion was because there was so much hate towards the LGBTQ community, and it baffled me because the people who are called to love the world were hating. And literally it says, like, people will say, like, there's no hate like Christian love, right? And it hurts. It hurt me because I was like, that doesn't make sense, which is why I hate claiming to be a Christian. I am a Christ follower, not a Christian. Because I treat everyone with respect. I treat everyone the same because that's what I'm called to do. Jesus hung with the worst people you could think of. He hung with murderers, stealers, thieves, prostitutes, you name it. That's not, like, condemning people and hating is not how we get them to this kingdom. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And so, like, I encourage people who are fighting religion to read the Bible. Right? The more you read, the more you learn, the more you hate religion, because religion sucks. But the Bible doesn't. God doesn't. Jesus does it. And I hope that's what you really learn and understand. But honestly, yeah, I'm going to wrap the video up right here because I'm getting cold. But I hope this video really resonates with you. I hope I got to speak on some key topics that some people don't really get to speak on. And if you guys ever want me to dig into something else, just comment the question. If you have a question, comment it. I'll either probably respond to it and then also make a video in the future. I want this channel and page and whatever social media you're seeing this at to be a conversation based. Oh, it's on YouTube. I'm slow. I want this to be a conversation between you, I, and the community of God, and hopefully to really truly spread the love that Jesus really left us and called us to do, not hate, because that's not what it's about. All right. But anyway, I hope this video was God bless you all. Peace out.